Good morning. Welcome to the City of Glendale's Arts and Culture Commission meeting for June 20th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Tufenkian. Here. Zadorian.
Here.
Pogosian.
Here.
Chairperson Vidor.
Here.
Vice Chair Yank and Commissioner Alexandrian are absent. Agenda item 1A, report of the recorder reposting the agenda. The agenda for the June 20th, 2024 regular meeting was posted on June 17th, 2024 on the bulletin board outside of City Hall. Agenda item 2A, minutes of the May 16th, 2024 regular meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission.
Does anyone have any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, I have one comment on item 7B. I would just like to elaborate a little bit on, we do have a procedure, a standard operating procedure on handling of donated works and how they would be reviewed. And we want to look at expanding that existing procedure to include the criteria for what our commission and staff approve and what we don't have to. So kind of focusing on that. Is that okay?
Absolutely, yes, we'll do
Okay.
that.
Well, if we don't have anything else, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve with the corrections made by Chairperson Vidor.
I'll second.
Roll call, Commissioners Tufenkian.
Yes.
Zadorian.
Yes.
Chairperson Vidor.
Yes.
Agenda item 3A, Library Arts and Culture Events, presented by Jennifer Fukutomi Jones, Principal Arts and Culture Administrator. Let's see. Okay. This month, we celebrate the LGBTQIA plus community through history and culture and in recognition of the community's vision for inclusion and equity. For events, book lists, and resources, please visit the link on the screen. One Book, One County is a community reading program bringing together 18 library districts in LA County. From June 1st to July 27, 2024, all participating libraries will be reading and discussing LA Weather by Maria Amparo Escandon. Books, ebooks, and audiobook copies are available in English and Spanish. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. Join Glendale Library Arts and Culture for summer programs, special performances, and reading challenges for all ages. The Summer Reading Challenge runs from June 1st to August 10th, 2024, and this year we are encouraging the community to read, renew, repeat. All ages will be available to register using the Beanstack website. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. Brand 52 Annual National Juried Works on Paper is now on view, June 15th to August 9th, 2024. This year's annual exhibition features more than 100 artworks from around the country, chosen by juror Shane Anise Dambrut, a renowned art critic, author, and curator. A reception celebrating the opening of the reception was held on Saturday, June 15th. For more information, visit the link on the screen. Applications for this year's Beyond the Box mural art program are closing. The theme for this year's program is Art and Science Collide, in celebration of Glendale Library Arts and Culture's participation in PST Art and Science Collide, which is the Getty Foundation's Southern California Regional Arts and Culture Initiative, returning in September 2024. The Arts and Culture Commission will fund $1,000 per utility box, and the deadline to apply is June 21st at 5 p.m. For more information, visit the link on the screen. Glendale Library Arts and Culture invites you to join a series of virtual author talks in partnership with the Library Speakers Consortium. On Tuesday, July 9th at 11 o'clock, join us for a visit to Decawoo Drive with everyone's favorite adventure-loving pig, Mercy Watson. Newbery Medal-winning author Kate DiCamillo will be sharing the stories behind the creation of her early chapter book series, the original Mercy Watson, and the follow-up series, Tales from Decawoo Drive. For more information, visit the link on the screen. And last, the Associates of Brand Library and Art Center are accepting applications for the Brand Associates Dance Series 2025 season. The Associates are looking for dance companies with at least 5 years' experience to present an educational, site-specific dance program appropriate for all ages on-site at the Brand Library and Art Center as part of the 2025 dance series. Groups from diverse backgrounds are strongly encouraged to apply. Applications are open through September 30th, 2024. For more information, visit the link on the screen. And that's the library report. Okay, moving on. Oral communications. For A, we do not have any. Agenda item 5, written communications, we do not have any. Agenda item 6A, citywide art, Montrose circular benches. Motion recommending that the city council authorize the city manager or a designee to enter into an agreement for commission of artwork with an artist team to design, fabricate, and install a public art piece for the Montrose Circular Benches in an amount not to exceed $300,000 dispersed from the Urban Art Program Fund. So we have today Bo Bass from the Bass Projects, who's going to lead us in our review.
All right, good morning, commissioners. Thanks for having us. Just to recap and refresh, I believe we have 4 artists that will be presenting concepts for the Montrose benches. We went through a process, an RFQ process, where we had, I think over 200 artists apply. We've narrowed that down to a selection of 4 artists to design concepts for us. We provided those artists with a lot of detail about the city of Montrose, the city of Glendale, the neighborhood of Montrose, city of Glendale. Each of those artists actually spent some time, on Montrose, looking at the benches, and have provided very site-specific concepts for us. We also presented those concepts for feedback to the Montrose Shopping Park Association, who I believe has a representative to share some feedback for us as well today. And I think without further ado, unless there are any questions about the process, we can have the artists present us their concepts.
Just as a reminder, each artist has 10 minutes to present, and then the commission can ask questions, and then we'll move on to the next artist. So first up, I believe we have James and Jennifer from POW Design. James and Jennifer, are you there?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, great. We're going to start the timer. You have 10 minutes.
Okay, so my name is Jen, and I'm an artist based in Long Beach.
And I'm James. I head People's Architecture Office. I'm an architect and artist. Next.
Okay, so our project is inspired by the intersection of history, geography, and urbanism of Montrose. Next, please. Next, please. So very quickly, we were awarded a commission by LA County to design public art benches for 9 parks in LA. So these are examples of that. They should be installed this fall. Next, please. Next. And this is part of the same commission for LA County. Next. Next, please. We were also awarded a commission to design the COVID-19 memorial for the city of Long Beach. So this is currently in process, and it has 2 arches. Next, please. Yep, those are the 2 arches there, and this is in Lincoln Park, and then also 2 retractable canopies. Next, please. This project is called Tubular Buddha. It's a permanent art installation with seating and periscopes. Next. And similarly, this project, which is called Social Network Factory, also has seating and periscopes, and it's an installation that allows people to gather together. Next. This is called Constellation Tower. Next, please. And this is Starburst, and it is a kaleidoscope sculpture. Next, please. Thank you. Okay, next.
Next. Yeah, so here we'll begin talking about our proposal for Montrose. We really began with being really interested in this, the history of the development of this community as originally a planned community that consisted of these sort of really interesting circular streets. It was fascinating to understand that it was planned with the intersection of Montrose Avenue and Ocean Boulevard as the focal point. However, as the community developed, the focal point then gravitated towards Honolulu Avenue. And also, we were especially interested in this point of history where the community sort of came together to ensure that this Honolulu Avenue was resilient through this period where a lot of, I guess a lot of people are becoming much more interested in shopping malls and a different type of retail environment. So we thought that this history was really, really important. Please, next. And what we did was we abstracted this urban design into these elements that were integrated into the existing circular benches. Next. So to describe how this works, on the left side, you see on the left upper corner is sort of a map of Montrose. And on the bottom left-hand corner, we sort of identified a few of the streets that we found particularly important and abstracted those. And on the right side, you see on the top right-hand corner, we abstracted these curb outs and elements that were part of this upgrade to the street in the 60s that we found very unique in its character, in integrating seating and landscaping. And on the bottom right-hand corner, that's sort of this kind of graphic that we abstracted out of that design. Next. And so our design is really taking this urban design, this urban structure, and wrapping it around the circular benches. Next. And so this is the existing street. Next. And here that unique design with those curb outs and landscaping areas. Next. And this is the original map. Next. And these elements we pulled out. Next. 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 As you see, this is sort of how we have Honolulu Avenue sort of wrapping this area. Next. And this is a top view of the final design. Next. And if you were to actually sit inside the structure, you would see that the shape of the street would identify the area that it would correlate with. So over the bench is where you sit is Honolulu Avenue with all those curb outs and so forth. And we have several benches which are the intersections of several streets, such as Ocean View Boulevard or Montrose Avenue with Honolulu Avenue, and those are the benches. And then we have the circular streets, some other streets that make up the ground. Next. And so Honolulu Avenue, which was originally sort of the periphery of this urban design, really became the center of this community. And in this case, it represents this really important street that wraps around and embraces those that would be occupying these public benches. And the tables then become also additional amenities to encourage social interaction and connection. Next.
So we are, in terms of materials, we are proposing concrete color hardener for the patterns of the streets on the ground. And for the tables, the blue tables, we are proposing glass fiber reinforced concrete. These are pretty durable materials that are commonly used in public art installations. And for the seating, where we are representing Honolulu Avenue, we are proposing mosaic, which would be a little more intricate and tactile, and also allows for a different scale and feeling with this project. So the three materials are mosaic, GFRC, and the concrete and the color hardener, which should allow some pretty vibrant colors in the project. Next, please.
Just a quick time check. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. And this is just our for maintenance. You can power wash these, the installation. Next, please. And this is our budget and timeline. Next. Next. So this is one option with blue tables and the second option with more colored tables. Next. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll take some comments or questions from the commission and start with Commissioner Tufekci.
Good morning, and thank you for the presentation, James and Jen. Really, really like the project. I think it's very well thought of, and I really like the mindfulness of it and how you've extracted geometric or abstracted the urban structure or urban geographic design of Montrose and brought it into the design. I think that looks really great. Obviously, you've put a lot of thought and planning into this, and very, very much appreciated. I don't know about as much as I love the tables, I don't know if that might be a little more confusing. Is it movable or is it in place?
Those are fixed in
Is it
place.
fixed? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, I really like the project very much. Thank you.
Commissioner Zadorian.
Yes, I think it's wonderful. I second a lot of what Commissioner Tufenkian stated. I like that it has the integrated seating. I actually do like the concept of tables as someone who is there once a week using it for either froyo or ice cream or whatever it might be. It would be nice to have somewhere to put these things that you know you're using, but I understand also that the way that it is done can be it's a little complex of the seating arrangement and how to get in and out. That was the only thing I was really worried about when it came to those tables. I do prefer the one with more color, the green and blues versus just the blue by itself because it's very muted tones and it could use more color in those areas. I like the mosaic tiles. It's a wonderful project. I just don't know if this is exactly what I would envision for that location and those benches specifically. I do want to see what other projects are coming forward, but it is wonderful and you guys have done an incredible job and I love a lot of the other things that you have done. All your other commissioned works as well. So thank you. I don't have any questions, sorry, just comments.
Commissioner Bogosian.
Mine are also comments too. The project is very creative. I also had a question about the tables too, and my colleague already asked the question.
Okay.
Mine were comments too, very creative.
Well, dittoing what all my fellow commissioners said, and I want to thank you both for the beautiful work on this. Very creative, unique interpretation you took of Montrose to figure out the geography of the streets and the planning and work it into it. And I also love your work and what you're doing for Greater LA to make it a beautiful artistic place. I have some concerns about the tables too, but and maybe not that much. I think my major issue with these benches, and I may be the only one who's thinking along these lines, is that I would like to see any project that we do there be all-encompassing and take in not only the interior of the benches where people are going to sit and converse, but also the outsides of the benches. And I realize that that's a lot of real estate there to work with because those benches are big. But the brickwork, it seems like there wasn't any continuation of the theme and the concept to the entire bench, inside and out. And I would like to see the entire bench be artified in this project rather than leaving the outside. And part of the inside, too, I think, is exposed brick as well, which has been there for years. So, you know, is that something that you thought of? I'm just curious as to why you didn't cover the brick in some way or extend the project out into the brick areas.
That was something that we were interested in. In fact, yeah, we had looked at that, but I think the concern was how we didn't want to disrupt what was existing too much. Unsure whether or not there was more of an interest in preserving the brickwork than not. But given the opportunity, we would have loved to work on the brickwork as well. Actually, we had worked on the top surface of that brick wall, and then removed it because we received some feedback about sort of simplifying the design a little bit. But we're actually quite open to working on certain areas and simplifying other aspects. For example, we could simplify the tables. We're open to even adjusting the design so you don't have the tables and we can still have those graphic elements integrated. So really our interest is tying these benches that are part of this upgrade of this area to the community, right? Tying this history to this community somehow, and making it so that people really use these spaces as much as possible. We're quite flexible in terms of.
Okay, great, good to hear. And thank you very much. Lovely project.
Commissioners, can I just make one point of emphasis for this project and for all of them? These are concept phases. These are not final design. And as you know, some of the other projects we've worked on were, I think the commission, once we select a concept, if there are edits and changes, I don't think any of these projects are necessarily final design. So if the commission wanted to see certain, like loved a project, but wanted to see some, some edits and changes, I believe those are all open.
So you, Ms. Fukutomi Jones, we shouldn't discuss that here or ask questions about that, or?
You can absolutely ask questions. I think to Bo's point, it's just a design concept rendering. So if
Oh,
if the
right.
if the artist were to move forward, we can move forward.
Yeah, I think the
deeper conversation.
commissioners, if they do have some question or issue about elaboration or change, it would be a good idea to voice that here.
Yeah, no, agreed, absolutely. I just wanted to make a point that these are
Oh,
not
yes.
final design.
Absolutely.
And if the commission felt it was appropriate to, let's say, like we, can't utilize this portion or that portion, or want to utilize more of this, to your point, I think for all of the concepts that's still open for discussions.
Right. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, James and Jen. We really appreciate it. You're welcome to exit the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Brian McCutcheon. Let me stop sharing here. Okay. Okay, Brian, are you here?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You have 10 minutes.
All right. Thank you for considering my proposal and for the opportunity. Can I see next slide, please? So I'm Brian McCutcheon. I'm an artist and an owner of Ignition Arts, which is a art fabrication company specializing in the production of large-scale public art projects nationwide. Next, please. I just have a couple of portfolio references to give you an idea of my approach. This project is called Native. It's in Rancho Cucamonga, California, and is a life-size cast bronze California fan palm that I did for the Rancho Cucamonga community. Next, please. This project is called Monument. It's a public artwork and functioning book share. It's on the grounds of the Central Library in Indianapolis. It's based on classic architectural archetypes. And the lintel quote is from Mark Twain, whose message is that the public libraries are the most enduring monument. Next, please. All right, so this is the proposal for the Montrose benches. Let's see, how do I want to approach this? I was able to visit Montrose recently and was able to wander the site firsthand. it was clear to me during that visit that the community is very family-focused and diverse. It was important to see that the streetscape language does not just exist at the bench, but also runs the length of the Honolulu Avenue. I was able to see how the areas that get used, where people stop, wait, seating for restaurants, or just people casually using ice cream, using it to sit and eat ice cream with their kids or take a break. Since the brick infrastructure, the original streetscape design runs the length of the street, I thought it'd be important to fit within the bounds of the bench and not disrupt the established designed landscape too much. Next, please. So my proposal for the Montrose benches is primarily to create a comfortable and communal public space by enhancing the existing infrastructure and becoming a space that prioritizes social interaction and interpersonal connections. And my primary reference is the conversation pit. Next, please. That became popular in design in the 60s and 70s and is now having a resurgence in contemporary architectural design. Okay, next, please. This slide, I show sort of the nuts and bolts of what I'm proposing. The bench seating, in making reference to the conversation pit, I'm proposing to sculpt cushions. They will be made of fiberglass reinforced resin, similar to other types of playground equipment that's commercially available. And in order to create sort of a more softer environment, I propose using playground rubber as part the area where the floor or the ground plane is. Let's see. The idea is that I would actually probably have to, since I visited, I was able to sort of measure and check each site. They're slightly unique. I'd more than likely be digitally scanning the benches and then generating a computer model that we'd use to then sculpt the seating forms out of. Let's see. I'm also planning to use a durable truck bed liner type product on the benches, similar to a playground finish, where the additional sort of application of color and possibly pattern would happen. So they'd be super durable, really comfortable, really easy to maintain. Next, please. So for this, since it is just a conceptual proposal, I've actually made 3 versions just to give a kind of a taste of the sort of opportunities that might be available in final design. And this first one is based on using a pattern pillow. Next, please. Where each bench would include the pattern of color on some of the cushions, and then the rest of the installation would be related to the colors found in those patterns. So in the previous slide, you saw that the brown, the orange, the cream, and green all sort of switch places. So there'd be some continuity to the artwork throughout the street, but they'd also be unique. Next slide, please. For this version, I propose a gradient application to the cushions. To me, this was somewhat about how the sky sunsets or evening kind of gradation of colors in the sky could be reflected in the environment. And I chose for this one to use a complementary color for the flooring just to give it some pop. I really want these places to be sort of inviting and comfortable and playful. Next slide, please. And this is a detail. Next slide, please. And then the last version I'm proposing is something more saturated. And just for this proposal, I thought it'd be nice to just like have this very saturated sort of moment inside the bench. And for this concept, I chose sort of the basic color palette, very, very red, green, blue, which is, kind of a digital reference and also kind of a primary color reference. Next slide, please. And that's a detail. Next slide, please.
Quick time check, you have 2 minutes.
Okay. We're very close. You can actually click through the next 3 slides. These are each bench identified in size and dimensions. You can see on the left-hand illustration sort of how the cushion would integrate. So it would exist attached to the top face of the concrete, the existing concrete bench, just to give you a sense of how that might work. Next slide, please. This is on my budget for the project. Next slide. That's it. We could go back to okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Really great. Let's have some comments from the commissioners. Commissioner Tufenkian.
Okay. Hi, Brian. Thank you so much for your presentation. I absolutely love the conversation pit. I think it's so comforting and such a great space to sit in and just talk with family and friends or whatever you're doing. I love proposal 1 and 2. I love the colors, love the design. I think it's very inviting and playful. My questions would be, first of all, the material being fiberglass and reinforced resin. I feel like over time, I do see some fiberglass and resin work that does fade under sun and different weather conditions. How would that hold up, and how long do you see that holding up, and what would the maintenance be?
I actually think it'll hold up very well. What I would propose, and I realize now that I didn't specify, the color would not be embedded in a resin. It would actually be applied with an industrial urethane paint. So the maintenance, both in ease of just cleaning, simple cleaning like power washing, would be adequate. The urethane products I use on public art projects, they have a performance life of up to 20 plus years. We have used some of these products on other projects that we're seeing 10 years down the road, no real fading or change in color. The nice thing about the way that I'm proposing is, since we do a lot of public artwork around the country, the way the paint is applied, if there is at some point any physical damage or some restoration work needs to be done, it's all common products that are available through local sources and can be applied even with a roller or a brush. Maybe that would be a little different on some of the patterned seating parts, but the full color ones would be really easy to touch up if it ever needed it.
Okay, thank you for that. Also, again, regarding maintenance, it looked like when you had the cut plan of the seating, it looks like it's probably hollow inside. Is that correct?
Yes, it would be, correct.
Okay, and it's just sitting on the concrete benches.
I mean, there will be a steel or stainless steel armature that will be affixed to the seat. With that will allow us to anchor it to the existing concrete, but it'll also be removable.
And would it be easy to maintain and clean because there is definitely a space between the concrete and the fiberglass, right? Would that-
Only, it would be, so it'll be capped on the ends. So the void that's inside would be, each cushion would be its own enclosed volume. Does that make sense?
Right.
So it's not an accessible void.
So more seams in between.
There will be a seam in between each of the cushion parts.
Okay. And a third question is comfort. Would that be comfortable to sit on? If it's made to look like a cushion, is it going to have the creases or whatever that a cushion would have, and how would that feel when you're sitting on it?
I think it would be comfortable. I mean, part of my response to seeing the benches in the first place was that by sculpting the chair, it would be more ergonomic and more comfortable. And sort of why I put the references of the Eames chairs in, which are also fiberglass manufactured chairs that are comfortable. I get what you're saying. I think that I can sort of indicate the idea of a pleat or a pad without going too deep. And I'd definitely be considerate as we were doing our mock-ups to make sure that whatever we landed on for the final form of it would be comfortable.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Zadorian.
Yes, so I love the concept of family focus and that it's a conversation pit as well. I second a lot of what Commissioner Tufenkian stated about the fiberglass cushions. That was the main concern. Another concern is the ottoman or table. I don't know if that would be, if that's something that would be kind of ingrained into the ground or whatnot, or else I don't think it'd be the greatest idea if it is movable.
They would definitely be anchored to the concrete.
Anchored, okay. I don't know how I feel about that particularly, so I kind of defer to the rest of the commissioners. Of course, it's nice to have something there and fill the space. I do like proposal 2 and 3. I like the color gradient, the full color, and if it's possible to extend that color beyond just the inside of the pit to the exterior of the pit, as Chairperson Vidor, had mentioned in the earlier proposal. If that's possible, that would also be incredible to kind of make it a vibrant, colorful area in general. I do love that you said that this is product and material that can last 20 plus years. So of course that's a plus for me as well. My main thing is just I wanted to see what those cushions would look like rather than a rendering, like an actual form of it, just to see what it'll look like in general in real life. If that's possible, if we can get some kind of photo of something. I know you said it's similar to, you compared it to something, and so I kind of could envision it in that moment. But if we could see what it would actually look like in front of us. Other than that, I don't have any other questions. I also really like the LED lighting under the seats. I hope that other people, use lighting, color. Those are great concepts, so thank you very much. So I'm trying to go as fast as possible so everybody has time.
We're on time, right?
We're a little behind, but
Okay.
it's okay.
Commissioner Pogosian.
My concern was also on the cushions, so I wanted to know if it's comfortable or not for people to sit on. that was my only concern.
Okay, and I kind of share everything. Thank you for some of the maintenance issues. I didn't realize that, and I appreciate that, and all of your comments. I second. Two things. I don't have any comments further. I just have a couple questions. It's very cool what you did. I wish I could hire you if I could afford you and do it in my house, but I'm curious as to, I know obviously you love the conversation pig concept, and I do too, and I love mid-century modernism. And I wonder if there was something about Montrose and the architecture and the street environment that inspired you to come up with that design. It's very evocative of kind of the mid-century cool living room thing, and, you know, did you take inspiration out of Montrose? And then my second question, also reiterating what I said before, you had some areas that were blacked out on the outside, and I assume that there weren't any changes planned for those. So if you could just clarify that, that would be great. So those two things.
Yeah. You know, so for the first issue, yes, in general, you know, like the conversation pit and sort of mid-century architecture, you can find it all over the region. It did really, the real connection for me was just thinking about making a personal connection and comfortable space for people to sort of interact or lounge or whatever. And so it was a little of both. And then the second point is that I had not intended to change the exterior of the brick simply because of the design work throughout the entire block. But obviously, the reason I made 3 proposals is to sort of give you the sense that I'm open to work with community input to make sure that I'm sort of developing a project that everyone will be happy with and successful. And in terms of the comfort of the cushions, during the design development process, we will make a one-to-one mock-up model. That's something we would be able to send out if that's necessary, just so that that everybody has a real visual and sort of physical understanding of what the final product will be.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. Really appreciate it. Beautiful, creative project, and good
All
luck.
right, thank you. All right.
Thank you so much, Brian. You're welcome to exit the meeting. Okay. Next up, we have Sage Vaughn. Hi, Sage, welcome.
Hi.
You have 10 minutes for your presentation.
Okay. That's me. Hi, I'm Sage. Thanks for taking the time to let me present to you guys. I love this little area of Montrose. My kid plays basketball at the Y up in Locking Island. We go there all the time with his grandma to eat at the Black Cow. What's it? Black Cow. And then, yeah.
New
Are they owned
cafe.
by the same people? Are we wasting my time? Okay. So, but I do like that area. I like, it doesn't feel like Los Angeles. It's really wonderful. When I walked around, I've spent a lot of time on that street with my kid. We used to go skate at the skate park up there. There is this like luxurious, like almost fortunate common space that you guys have there. So like with those benches, they're really nice. Like it's not, I found those benches to be wonderful. We sat across from opposing team members from games where we just were at, and we could sit, and my son became friends with the kid, and then we went into the place to eat. All right, so when I went up there recently to talk to people about what they liked about Montrose and what they wanted if there was going to be some art, everyone said nature. That was the big thing that everyone said. They kept saying they love the mountains, and then the ladies that I spoke to in front of the ice cream shop said they needed some shade. And it's true, there's no shade over there. So that's one of my favorite parts about doing these public projects is I get to kind of collaborate with people. I'm a fine artist. I do gallery shows. I've sold a bunch of work all over the world. It goes into somebody's home. Maybe a handful of people get to see it. But this public work is really wonderful. Like I came from a blue collar family. I really liked approachable art, especially in public, like real public spaces. Like these common areas that Montrose has cut out are, I could only wish we had more stuff like that throughout the city. So this is a project I did in Culver City, the outside of this massive building. We did these large butterflies migrating across it. Let me tell you about the benches. Oh, this is a project we just finished down in Santa Ana. So I've got a thing when we do these public things. It's taking these natural sketches, these sketches of natural things, and we make them sculptural barely. They're like two-dimensional sculptures. This was for a stadium in Oregon, at University of Oregon. They built this brand new stadium. And this was out in Great Park, Irvine? Yeah. This was one of the only freestanding ones we did, and we kind of layered them. Let's skip that part. So the circular benches, here we go. First one. Oh, can we go one more actually?
Forward or backward?
Forward. Okay. So my original design for these was ambitious. So in the beginning, what I was hoping for, now this is off the intersection between Verdugo and Honolulu in front of the Black Cow. That space is basically a waiting area for Black Cow. And I wanted to do something that would separate the space from the street a little bit more. So that's like about a 6 to 8 foot screen that would go behind the bench and just kind of enclose that area a little bit more and make it a little bit more secluded and private. And it also kind of acts as this way to enter into the main drag on Montrose, on Honolulu. All these butterflies are flying down the direction as if you're coming in from the east going west. If you go back, I also, oh, actually, let me tell you. So these would be cut out of aluminum. The black line would be cut out of 1/2 inch thick aluminum. And then we'd get a perforated steel screen, and I would hand paint those. So I think on a project like this, we could do something really precious, and I could put in a little bit more time. Usually we have to have these things, because they're so massive, we have to have them fabricated by other people. So this would have a nice little touch like that. So for each bench, I proposed 2 ideas. If you go back one, this is a little bit more of a refined design. It mounts on the top of the bench, and these would just be the line work. So they would be entirely see-through, except for where the black lines would be. That would be metal. And they would curve, like almost like a tiara sitting on the top of the bench. So we'd still have that screen effect, but it's a little bit less boisterous, if you want to say. It would be a little bit more refined. This, what we'd get is a lot of interesting shadow play throughout the day as the sun moved across the sky. These things would be like, almost like sundials. And this is a bit more of a unified idea for all 3 benches. All right, yes, let's go forward a couple. I'm good at making art and thinking of art. I'm not the best at presenting in front of a bunch of people sitting at desks, but the end result works out great. Okay, so this again is for the middle bench, the one that's in front of the Mama Moo ice cream place. So this would be, again, same design, different flowers, different like cross-pollinating little organisms within it. Those are local flowers. I mean, that's the Mejia poppy, or I think that's how you pronounce it. But it's those beautiful tall ones with the white, they look like almost like fried eggs. I love those. So then, now I'll show you the other idea for this bench. And this is the one where I tried to come up with an idea to provide some shade. And this would be a cantilevered bouquet of flowers that you see from underneath. So that green spot on the side that looks like I made a big mistake, that's actually just the footprint of where the shade would be. And when you sat underneath this, you'd look up, you would see all the beautiful flowers and stuff. From the side, it would just look like maybe a shade, sunshade. It would be metal again, and the line work would be aluminum. This would be dimensional, so they'd be stacked. And there would be a butterfly or a caterpillar, I haven't decided, on the armature itself, so you would have something to see as you approached it that wouldn't just be visible from underneath. Now with this one, if it was part of it is there's a lot of elements that are out of my control with proposing a piece this, I'd say ambitious or invasive with what the civic engineering might need to build something like this. So there might be, if this was a direction you guys wanted to go, we might need to have a couple more meetings about talking about what the city can do to help make this more feasible. All right, next.
Just a quick time check. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, good. We're doing great, you guys. This is doing great. Okay, let's get to the last ones. Okay, for the last, the Village Square, okay, that's the one right in front of the elbow room. And here you have this amazing tree. So it really doesn't need the stuff that the rest of the benches, none of the benches need it, but I just don't want to fight that tree. It's so wonderful. So what I kind of moved these curved screens towards the front to kind of act as a little bit of a gateway into that area, separate it from the elbow room, and it kind of caps off the end of this whole journey. Either way, this would, to me, seems like kind of the end point. And so the other design for this one is really similar. The more colorful one, the next slide, yes. And that's basically, again, just kind of bookending the entrance and kind of making these pillars or columns, floral columns that you kind of would kind of indicate that this, differentiate that space from the outside space. A lot of this stuff on this series of designs, the green line work represents some kind of infrastructure we would build to kind of support this and make it, you know, bulletproof. I try to make these things as, I worked in theme park design or theme park construction for a little bit when I was younger, so I'm just used to trying to make things kid-proof, not dangerous, and that'll last forever. It's an old habit, but it seems to work on these public art things. Okay, that's all I got in terms of being coherent. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, we'll take them one by one. Commissioner Tufenkian, go ahead.
Hi, Sage. Thank you for your presentation. I have to say you presented very well, so.
Thank you very much.
I love, well, first I have to say Montrose is very special, and I've spent many hours up there as well with my children when they were younger. And I love the communal space that each one of these bench areas offers. And I like the idea of making it just a little bit more private or secluded. I think that is very nice, especially if it's not like a solid, I think I heard you say that it would be perforated.
Yes.
So it's not a full, it's just a small screen. So my questions would be, and I like the idea of giving the shade. I think that would be very, very nice. And also like the idea of using local flora in your design. The material is steel, or what would the material be?
The material is aluminum, 1/2-inch thick plate aluminum.
Okay.
And then we would use, for those to do the hand-painted screens behind it, that would probably be a steel screen. That's really, really thin.
And so they would be painted?
Yes.
Solid color, or kind of like in the design, it's all different colors?
All different colors, hand-painted. Those would be small enough that I could fit them in my studio. And then I would be able to hand paint them with oil paints and then take them to get, we've done this with one other thing where we'll get them automotive clear coated. So that way they're just pretty weather resistant.
So it would last. And then also I wanted to see the, so they would be installed on the back of the top of the bench.
The black and white ones, the ones that were the second idea, those would be installed, I was thinking on the top of the bench, we'd make a plate that they sat on that then would go on the top of the bench. If that bench doesn't seem like it would be the best thing to be mounting stuff into, which looking at them, I can't say. I don't know what's inside those benches.
Right. And is it wide enough?
It could be.
Anchor something up there.
It could be if we're shooting down into something solid.
Right.
But we can also do something where we would have a screen, like armature built that would kind of mimic that, and we would mount right on that,
Okay.
which would be an easy pivot. But part of it was a lot of that existing design stuff goes throughout Montrose, and I didn't really want to change too much of that because I'd like to make something that looks like it belongs there if I can, without it being too, I don't know.
Okay. And my other question would be, what would happen to the actual benches themselves? So,
As far the actual benches, not much.
so it would just stay as is, and this would just be mounted on top. Would it be painted? Would it be colored different? Would it?
I wouldn't
anything?
want to paint on those bricks. I think,
So just keep it as is.
yeah, I think that would, there could be an idea of maybe doing some tile work on the tops of the benches where the seats are. That's what was in my original plan, but as we started to really work out the details of the infrastructure we need to build for, especially for that cantilevered shade piece,
Right.
I want to try to make sure we keep everything within the budget.
All right.
Actually, that's Ryan's job, to keep everything in the budget.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Love the project.
Commissioner Zadorian.
I love that you did visit, you asked questions to the local people, and that they did give you the answer of nature. I really love that, and that you're incorporating shade. I think that is definitely something that's needed. My only concern is that, you know, the inside of these pits needs something. It's screaming for something. I mean, it's uncomfortable, just concrete benches, and so it could definitely use something, and if that's something that we can maybe discuss later, that would be incredible. But I like that you have different concepts for all the benches. I love the one that's the overhead shade. I can just see that being amazing for people to use and be able to actually use a shade. Other than that, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I think being able to do more, my original concept included some colorful tile work that would match the colors used in the presentation and in the screens. But as we started to kind of parse out how to build this in reality, I just didn't know how much it would take to build the footings for these and to attach everything.
Thank you.
I also wanted to say that if we add more colors to this, it will be more, more visual, to have more visual in it. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
So the second design be
To have
more
more
colorful.
colors, yes.
Yeah.
To have more colors in this, it will be.
One of the things we were thinking about is instead of doing it in black and white, like powder, we use this super durable black powder coating that's matte. We could have the aluminum finished in different ways, so we could have it finished what's it called, the finishing process?
I mean, there's any number of different finishes that could be applied to that surface.
So we could do these different like,
Could be Canada.
yeah, plated with copper and watch that change
Because they're
and
using this for
patina
shade,
over
right?
time, which would be kind of cool. Bronze it, dark bronze it, paint it, different things like that. There is possibilities. I mean, this is my favorite part about this stuff is I'm used to just doing all my stuff in the studio by myself. When I get to do projects like this, I get collaboration.
I also have one more question. But if we paint this and we're using this for shade, isn't it gonna like either melt it or the iron that you're gonna be designing this?
It won't melt. The paint
Or how
should,
about the melt? Yeah.
the paint should stay on. We'd have to use some really durable paint. I mean, it would fade over, 20 years.
Oh, okay.
But, and that's the other part, is this design could get warm in the sun, but probably not that much. There's very little metal there, and it's not flat. It's like up like this. But I just wanted to make sure that it was still functional. I wanted to make sure there's room for like grandpas to put their arm on the back still and all that stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Just a couple questions. I think it's really creative and it really speaks to Montrose too. It's such a unique community, rare, I think, in California, basically, to have an area of Los Angeles that is like this and maintains such a spectacular small-town character. And this adds whimsy and delight too. But having said that, I have a couple questions about the logistics. The one that was like the archway, the supports with the flowers, and then some butterflies on the top, and some of the other drawings you showed. I was wondering, when this is up, the way you envision it, there's a side facing the public or the inside.
Yeah.
You're concerned about the people sitting there, and then there's the outside. So when people look at these 3D flowers that are mounted on these support structures, is the same exact flower facing out as is facing in, like a reversible jacket where both sides are finished, depending on which side you're looking at, or is one side the primary side?
One side's the primary side. It could be explored to do it on both sides, or what we could do is do something different on the other side. So it's not just like the cantilevered one that has the shade structure. I noticed that is really only going to be, the best visible spot would be underneath looking up at it, which I thought would be nice, but at the same time, it's a big thing that's not getting a lot of views in person driving by. So I was thinking we can put stuff on the top of that, sideways, and some other ways to view it. So I think there are other areas we could attach some things to just make sure people have different experiences.
Yeah, okay. And then kind of along the same lines as was discussed, the seating, the benches themselves, and the outer brickwork that surrounds the outside of the bench, you were going to leave those alone.
Yeah, I didn't, I don't want to paint bricks. Like, I feel like they look beautiful, and
Or take them off and do anything else.
again, I like to propose stuff that I know I can do. I don't know what's under those bricks or what would happen if I took them off. Ryan wants to get rid of those bricks really bad. He wants to cover them all up.
Yeah.
Here, let me chime in for a second. Sorry, I'm Ryan.
This is my partner.
Production management for the public art that we produce, and so I kind of handle some of the more technical stuff and the fabrication stuff. And I did think that it's very possible to smooth plaster coat all the brick and kind of make it kind of sit back and use a neutral color. So we wouldn't really be removing anything. We would just be adding a smooth layer to it, smooth enough. And
Because the bench
I think
top-
it would
the
make
bench
it
needs
look a
smoothing
little
for
more
sure.
contemporary and possibly
not-
allow you to move into the future. Yeah.
But you don't envision, you like the idea of changing the brick, but you don't, that's a utilitarian solution. You didn't envision artifying that outer.
We thought about putting bronze, like, remember we were thinking the same kind of designs, but bronze cutouts within the plaster. So there would just be these, like, it would echo the same design, but at a much smaller scale, like set within the coat, the smooth coat.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of potential for application, and we kind of started with the idea of tile in the beginning. But like Sage has said, I think part of the idea in my mind is if we smooth coated it, if we had a plaster and a neutral finish, again, it pulls your eye up to the actual application of the art that Sage is proposing, and so that you're not really trying to make everything look busy everywhere, but you're intentionally bringing your eye to the actual art that's being applied upwards. Yeah, and again, back to a couple technical things, I think where, in terms of budget, I think And engineering, I think, it's fine for us to do a bunch of engineering. I think where some of it gets ambitious is, and where potentially we would need help is with footings. And if the city could assist in.
Support structures?
The armatures and support structures and engineering, we're very confident in, and we have experience with that. It's where it gets a little tricky working with the city and deciding, hey, we need to dig 4 feet down and put concrete in there. That might be, an opportunity to work with the city on something like that. Otherwise, the actual, again, everything you're seeing, we're confident in doing that work. Yeah. And in terms of heat or melting finishes, there's definitely finishes that would withstand heat, just like your car sits in the sun and stuff like that. Like kind of Sage said, the wear component on finishes is generally the UV exposure. So there's ways to mitigate that, but everything will start to fade after enough time. But not catastrophic failure. Or
Thank you
anything.
both for your,
He's the
candor and your, detailed description of the do's and don'ts and the haves and have-nots and things. So we appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
And we'll see what happens.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We're good.
Next, we have Kasia Rico. This is our final presentation.
Hello, everyone. So,
Kesha, thank you for coming. We have 10 minutes for your presentation.
perfect, thank you. So the slides are here, perfect. So hi, my name is Keisha. I'm an artist, and I work primarily in oil painting, as well as on artistic and brand partnerships. So my business model is really around telling a good story with confident colors. And when I'm looking at these 3 circular bench projects, I found that it was an opportunity to not only uncover the history of Montrose, but also to offer a renewed connection to that history with the community. If we go through to the next slide, please. We added a few, which we can go swiftly pass through some of my last projects. So this is a visualization and a partnership that I had with the Los Angeles Metro. And working with them, we can keep going too, but working them was delightful in terms of getting added into their permanent collection. And this is a feature with the LA Times, and we can keep going so we can arrive at the project, because I want to appreciate the time that we have today. So this, we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So our garden spot is, this is my artistic concept. The project themes here are connection. So I'm thinking about the relationship of the natural beauty that is in Glendale, between the 2 mountains in Glendale, and also there is a serene vantage point that is just at the end of the street, which is which overlooks a historic site, which is the railway, the Glendale and Montrose Railway. And that proximity is what has inspired one of the thematics of this project. These 3 benches that I will be sharing today really are a fusion of art and of history. The purpose of this project is really about the local connection to Montrose. And to me, connection is more than just a connection with the present here and now. It is more than my being born in Glendale Hospital. To me, connection is really about bringing a deeper history and relationship to and meaning to that connection. So, for example, our garden spot comes from it was inspired by a quote from the general manager of the Glendale and Montrose Railway. Mr. Burton once called Montrose the garden spot of America. So looking at that history and that aspiration for this community, I gave it an accessible twist to calling it Our Garden Spot. And that story is also duplicated. I'd like to point your attention to the center at the top. There is an analog clock. Now, this clock was featured on a historian of Montrose's book, and it was featured on a ticket from the actual railway itself. And this ticket I'll show in another slide later. But keep in mind, this ticket, pulling from that history, this historical artifact, I knew that this was a really great symbol to have on all 3 benches to really encapsulate that connection to this history and the proximity of this historic site. So you can go to the next slide. Before any transformative changes occur, I like to go and meet the locals and see who is coming to these sites, as well as how they're interacting, how they're acting around these spaces. So in their current state, I conducted, therefore, a informal interview with a number of locals. And what I found was that Mumia was really the most prominently utilized bench site compared to the other 2. I also learned about the very simple pleasures that Montrose provides to its locals, such as it's a great date spot. It's a really great date spot for the youth, the adults. It's also a good resting spot for people who work between shifts. And I learned that everyone has day-to-day challenges. And for a husband and wife that I spoke with, this area was a really great spot to drop off their 2 teenage sons, to let them run around while they were really rushing to get their errands done before dinner. So with that in mind, that really became the foundation, these people, for the overarching concept. We can go to the next slide, where you will see this ticket on the top left. So thinking through the past, the history of Montrose, thinking through of the conversations that I had in the present with the locals, looking ahead at the future, I'm thinking about the objectives of the brief in terms of engagement, of longevity, of connection. I also feel that my goals, my personal goals, as well as all of the overlapping goals, they really provide a great foundational principle for building this overarching concept. So we're crafting 3 bench sites that really are these key portals to inspire and honor the legacy of Montrose, as well as building a new generation of connecting with the stories and connecting with a sense of belonging in the area. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, so I will go through the themes very quickly, but this is the Mumia bench concept. Here we have a thematic color that is softened rose. This color is a play on the fact that when you look around nearby the streets, there's some lore in that Montrose was really built in a mountain rose shape. So it's a playful nod to that. But I'm also thinking about land use, and I'm thinking about how, in terms of the natural beauty of Montrose, prior to the railroad being built, the land use was really about orchards and vineyards. So I'm thinking about the different pollinators that used to live around the area to connect with that sense of time. I'm also aware of the conceptual weight that a butterfly has on the image. And it also features a forget-me-not flower, which is a 5-petal blue flower. The floor feature with this design is made with hand-cut, hand-laid smalty glass tiles. This is a Mexican tradition, and it has a lot of weight in that as well. And the materiality of this it really heightens longevity, and it heightens durability. And because we're in a really dry climate, it's really great because it doesn't attract heat. So it's very beautiful to touch. Now, next to the floor, there's the bench, and that's going to be made with a matching color of 1x1 tiles, and they are variegated and really beautiful to touch. For the accents, I've mentioned the analog clock on the bench, and there will be a matching borderline edge for the mosaic at the floor. And this is really thinking in terms of architecture and thinking about storytelling and how we're integrating the old build with the new build. So that delineated border really speaks to the story of this addition to enhance the beauty in this space.
Kesha, you have about 1 minute and 30 seconds left.
Oh, okay, great. And the outer wall that I recommend is using a brown layer, and this brown layer coated with plaster will be really smooth with a little spot of color. So let's go through to the other two. The specs are quite similar, and the design here, we're referencing an homage to the Montrose Peacock, which is a story about a husband and wife who he wanted to gift her 3 peacocks, and that's really why they're here today. It also makes me think back about the husband and wife, because the site for Village Square is where I met them. And the next slide, please. So Star Cafe, this is the hero image. It really is the connection of thematically thinking about the land use. See, this area, the Tongva tribe, and also later on Spanish settlers used this for building out trails and building out their different connections to the nearby areas for resources. And bringing it closer to the present day, of course, the 2 hibiscus flowers really represent the symbolic, it's a symbolic flower for this area. And so that, I believe, covers. We can go to the next one if we have the time. But here we're seeing, the unity of all of the designs together, and there is an option to add a message. You can go to the next slide. Along the bench seat, we could incorporate, if wanted, a message to connect the ideas of land use. And so what I propose we could use is soil, home, land, orchard, vineyard, and then the title of the project, Our Garden Spot. And I'll stop at the last slide because it is more technical, the one after this. It's more technical, but it gives you some extra views. And at your leisure, you may go through the other slides because it is repeated, but just to share some of the alternate views as well. And I'll leave the floor open for questions because I know that all the other pages are just top, like high-level views.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lovely. You were born in Glendale Hospital. Do you still live in Glendale?
I do live in Glendale, yes, South Glendale near Verdugo Street. So I'm about 6 minutes away.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Tufenkian, questions, comments?
Yes, hi Cassia. Thank you so much for your presentation. Obviously, you've done a lot of homework and you really thought about this project. I really like that you're so mindful of the space, the community, the people who use it, the history of the space, the flora, the land, just everything. I love the colors. I love the themes on each of the benches. Just a couple of questions. I heard you say glass tile, and I'm
Yes.
not sure if that was on the seat or on the floor.
Yes, so the seat and the floor will have glass tile.
Okay, and is that like smooth glass? Is it broken glass? Would that be sharp?
Yeah, so I'm working with a Mexican foundry that's specialized in glass, and they've been doing this over many generations and working with really high, like mid and late career artists in partnering and translating their designs into artwork. And they work in Mexico as well as in America. And what they do is they really work with civic spaces as well as, say, airports. So they're very much the experts on these glass pieces. To answer your question, yes, it's made with glass, and on the floor, that's going to be really personalized and customized to the specs of the artwork, and that's going to be made with a smooth hand cut. Each piece will be hand cut to the design with varying sizes that will eventually just utilize the space and the designs properly. And then the glass tiles on the bench are 1 by 1. So not hand cut, but they're 1 by 1 and still give, because of this variegation, a really nice touch quality.
So no sharp edges or, okay, good. Very nice. Okay, and the 1 by 1 tile, that was my next question, that's on the seat. And I like the idea of wrapping the whole bench, the backside as well, and I like the idea of incorporating that and using that as part of the design. I like having the a bigger theme on the ground, and also I like the analog clock that you've found and use that in the project. So yeah, I think it's very well thought of. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Zadorian.
Yeah, so I think from all the pieces that we've looked at, this is the most Montrose-like. It seems to like flawlessly fit right into the area. That's my opinion, of course. We're not changing it too much. We're messing with the culture of the area, but it's enough where people can utilize it and it looks beautiful and stunning. I love that you incorporated different cultures from our city, different flora or different birds, whatever it might be, and these beautiful stories that encompass it. It's almost so beautiful and the history behind it that I want there to be some kind of like a stand that explains what the meaning behind these benches. I think that would be incredible. And I almost wish that on top of these 3 roundabouts, we were also incorporating the one bench right outside of Froyo where the Veterans Memorial is. There's a bench there as well. And that one's really well used. And I know it's not part of this, so maybe that's a discussion we can have later on to incorporate. I just love the theme. I love the colors. I think it's very fun and beautiful. And it really does seem to fit right into the area. So thank you very much. No questions for me.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bogosian.
Mine are just comments. Your artwork is very creative for where the area is, and I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you. The goal is to do something very fresh and new. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, I really love this project, and I think what I like about it is I think you've encompassed the entire bench inside and out, top and bottom, all the way around with, is it glass mosaic, or is every material the same on the different parts of the bench?
So like we spoke with, it's the bench and the floor is going to be the glass tiles.
Yeah.
And then around, it would be plaster around the walls. And so what I recommend is to seal and pretty much hide the brick.
Yes.
And then add a spot of color,
Excellent.
so that's going to be painted.
Yes.
As well as on the opposite side, so there's really good sight lines, views across from the street, from like the cafes across the street. And so there's a potential to also hand paint design on there that kind of acts as a double story to encourage someone to come closer. So the wall itself will be painted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. I love the way you've taken a deep dive into certain aspects of Montrose's history that may not be known to that many people either. Like these stories are what makes a community a community. It's not always just the big things that rise to the top. And the fact that you're willing to put some, a written word in there. And I think it would also be lovely for a set of benches like this to have some kind of a didactic somewhere that explains the background interpretation of each one. And to Commissioner Zadorian's point, I would go so far as to say, that I think this is the most Montrosian of everything I've seen as well. And it doesn't seem, there's a lot there, obviously, that you have to do, but it doesn't look inordinately complicated. You have to put the material on, you have the design, but it's very easy to visualize what this is going to look like. And, maybe it doesn't have phantasmagorical things about it, but it's beautiful in a subtle way. It speaks to nature, it speaks to history, and, I just think it's lovely, and congratulations for thinking of it. I would also consider, I'm speaking totally out of turn here because there's money involved, but, if there is another bench that could be incorporated in, we could look into that. But I like this very much. Thank you for
Thank
your
you so
presentation.
much. Thank you.
I have one more question, if I may.
Yes.
Can I?
Yeah.
Are you painting on the ground and then putting the glass tile, or you're doing the hand, or are you doing like the hand painting on the glass?
So that's a great question, and it's a very interesting process. So the artwork will be hand painted and then scanned really high res. And this foundry that I'm working with in Mexico, they work with artists to translate all of the painted works that they receive into the hand cut and colored tiles. So I will not be I'm overseeing that transformation of the artwork into glass, but what they're going to be doing is laying it out in Mexico and really building out and translating the painting. So I won't be painting the floor, no.
And is the clock also gonna be glass too?
So the clock, there's an option to make it glass, but I recommend using laser cut because it's really cost effective. And the cost for the laser cutting it and finishing it, so it's really smooth and easy to touch, and then finishing it with a nice metallic sheen that is really durable and won't degrade over time. I specifically chose that because it's just a really great and cheap material, and because the vendors that we're working with who are installing the mosaic, everything for installation is covered in their price. So whether or not we add type or not, it's all the same installation costs. So really anything that we laser cut and add on, it's just about producing that, and there's no additional cost with installation. So yeah, that was like a nice thing to learn.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that the same process that you used for Union Station, the mural?
No, so for Union
You don't have to
Station.
explain it. I just, is it or isn't it? I don't want to get you involved
it's
in a
not.
long.
No, it's not.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah, but I have a history of working with artistic initiatives and doing different translations of artwork with different vendors. So for me, it is my comfort zone to leave it to the experts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, good. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
And I think we haven't, do
We
we take
do.
oral now?
We
Or-
have one public comment who has been patiently waiting to provide comment on the meeting. But Kesha, thank you. You're welcome to exit the meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Gigi Garcia from the Montrose Shopping Park Association, I believe, is coming to talk with us.
I am Gigi Garcia. I'm the Vice President of Montrose Shopping Park Association. I have been for 12 years, and I've had a business in Montrose for 12 years. I just wanted to say good morning and thank you, Madam Chair and Commission members, for your consideration on this project in Montrose. It is the first project of any kind of this magnitude that is coming to Montrose, so we are so excited, and I speak for all of our board members. I wanted to thank Jennifer and the Library Arts Commission team. They've been great, and as you all know, I'm sure. And thanks to all the artists. All four of them are wonderful submissions, and it was very hard for us to come to our conclusions. But I just wanted to make some comments on a couple of them. The first one, I love that it incorporated all the streets of Montrose and the retro design of that. And then, of course, the second one was very retro and kind of fit with the whole, you know, there's a little 50s vibe going in Montrose, and we love that. Very beautiful, all lovely and well thought out. At our board meeting, our last board meeting, that this was presented to us, the consensus was that the final two kind of fit the whole vibe in Montrose. The third one, Sage's design, were very beautiful, and we thought they were very Instagrammable. We thought they were social media friendly. They are gorgeous, but I'm glad I am here, and I'm glad I saw that presentation, because I think it is important to be able to see both sides. I don't, this is my personal opinion, my board did not hear everything I just heard, but I think that is an important fact to be able to see both. The temperature would be important. If that thing gets hot, it is within arm's reach of everyone. So those were just a couple of my concerns, but we love it. It's very picturesque, and it was definitely one of the top choices. We love that he's semi-local, it sounds like. The last one is probably at least my personal favorite, and it was definitely a choice of our board of directors. It does encompass, like you said, the vibe of Montrose. These benches, you guys have spent time in Montrose, we use them for events. So we put bands in there. We put, people sit there for the Montrose parade. It's not just used to sit and have ice cream or wait for your number to be called at Black Cow. They're very, we use them throughout the year for different things. So I kind of feel like the last design, we could still use it in our normal ways that we do. A band would have no problem fitting in there and so forth. Love that she's local. And I love that she brought up the Native American tribe that stems from that area. Again, there was just a couple other things that I might say, is that on Sage's design, we did like the original tile that was put in the seating area, which seems to be that he might want to leave off now. So that's concerning. We talked about the heat in the two sides. I love the idea about the Vietnam Memorial bench being done. That is like our town square, basically. There's a lot of important events that go on there right at that corner, even though it's not a large space. It's still, we have a huge Memorial Day celebration there, and it seems like people just like to meet at that corner, and it's a very important corner. So if that's a possibility, we would love to see that. The only other question I would have had for Cassia is the wear and tear on those materials, but I guess that could come later. And that's about it. I thank you for having us and considering us, and for all the work, and we look forward to more projects in Montrose for the Arts Commission. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, do we now go into our, well, I'd like to ask, does anyone want to have further discussion, or do we go right to a vote?
I mean, I'd like to make a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to make a comment
please.
as well. I did not ask Cassia about, so when you put the tile on the floor, there's going to be an elevation. So how would that work? Would there be, I don't know, would it be gradated? Would it be, how would that connect to the street level? Right, because there would be, if the tile is going on, there's grout underneath, and then there's the tile on top, so that's probably, what would you say, maybe about,
She actually,
You can see it in the minute.
she made a reference, if you look at even for here, of having a metal rim or ring, you can sort of see in the edge. So just like
Like a
the hardwood floor
threshold?
in your house, there's a
Threshold.
threshold, I don't know what you would call it, but yeah, there would be a little border there.
okay,
Again, that's my understanding. I think she did make reference to
okay,
a metal frame.
that's
I'm
it.
sorry, so my only comment is, one, I'm very happy we had someone from Montrose Shopping Association to come give us their viewpoint, because it's very important to understand what everybody there would also want. So thank you for coming, taking that time and giving us your thoughts. My only thing is, so if we did move forward, and it seems like we have a consensus on one, the fourth piece, that's what I'm getting. My only thing is, so if we go into detail next time around, there was conversation about the wording on the outside, and maybe we just leave that till next time. Let's first maybe just vote. I just want to make that comment that I'm still open to that idea, and we can talk about what we can do, and just vote for it now. Is
And
that
I
okay
think
with
that was your point, Bo, that, there are other details to be figured out that aren't going to be discussed here, but
Yeah, I would say that I think the goal, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, is for the commission to select one concept to move forward with. I think all of them are going to have some variation of engineering, design. We've done it with some of the other projects, making sure that with the different city departments are sort of signing off, and then getting to a final design, which I guess we could come back here for final approval before going into fabrication.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Just quickly for clarity in regard to timelines, so once the commission makes a decision here, you would choose a first recommendation and then an alternate recommendation
Okay.
based on design, and then that would go to city council for final approval. When city council decides on the final design, Cassia will, or whomever, will send the final design rendering that will be approved by the commission, like Bo said before fabrication. Does that make sense?
Sounds good.
Okay.
I just had one question on the very, very first presentation that we had. Like that we see right here. There was like 3-4 benches that are gonna be fitted, not movable. So is it gonna be like comfortable for people to get in and out of that bench? Or is it like how it is in this picture? Like, look, there's like, is it gonna be like people to fit and get in and out?
From my understanding,
if
the
it's
the
fixed.
benches, the little
There's, like,
tables are
3
not
or 4.
movable.
Yeah,
They're
the
not
tables are
movable,
not
so-
movable, and
Yeah.
it would just be the rendering as
Okay, yeah.
visualized.
I just wanted to know if it will be comfortable for people to get in and out if they're fixed.
I would have to imagine that they would have to figure out the spacing
Walk
to match
around,
any ADA requirements.
Because there was
but
like 3,
otherwise-
4 of like these tables that we saw on the presentation on the bench, that's why.
I'm sorry, one more time?
There was like 3 or 4 tables that we saw on the presentation on the bench, so I just wanted to know if it's gonna be like comfortable for people to get in and out if it's just fixed, it's not movable.
I think that was what the point she was making was that wouldn't be the smartest option because they have to fit bands and whatever, and we
Yeah,
won't be able to do
That's
that.
what I just wanted to know.
Okay, then I would like to make a motion recommending that.
I
Oh,
haven't
I'm sorry. I'm
say
jumping the gun.
Well, I want to just reiterate that I'm very glad you are here from the Montrose Shopping Park, Gigi, because I think Montrose is a really unique, special place, and what impresses me about the Montrose organization is how caring and protective you are of your architecture, your history, and your environment. And I wish you could spread that around to the entire city of Glendale, because I think it's very important, and that's why people treasure the area. So we want to do our best for it. We're thrilled that you want to artify the benches, and we're thrilled that you want more, and we're certainly going to be happy to support you in those endeavors. And I will say that I love them all. I love the creativity here. It's just such a joy to see these 4 unique, incredible things. But for the project at hand, I think number 4, Cassio's, is the choice. It's simple, beautiful, historic, and evokes nature and humanity. My second choice would, as yours, also be Sage's, but, you know, there's caveats around that, and they're very, very complicated, you know, to make it work for the community in the way we all envision. It would be quite an undertaking, and I appreciate his candor in describing all of that with us. I think even though the presentation lacked the look of a finished product in a rendering style, it was good to, you know, hear really what the issues are. So I'm for number 4, and that's all I have to say. And if you want to go take the vote now and do the motion, I think we're ready for that. So,
Commissioner Zadorian, did you want to make a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion recommending that the city council authorize the city manager or designee to enter an agreement for commission of artwork with, I believe it was Keisha Rico, I'm not sure if that's right pronunciation, to design, fabricate, and install public art piece for the Montrose circular benches in an amount not to exceed $300,000 dispersed from the Urban Art Program Fund, with Sage Vaughn as the second recommendation to go to city council.
second.
Second. We'll call Commissioners Tufengian,
Yes.
Zadorian,
Yes.
Chairperson Vidor.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on. Thank you, Bo.
Thank you, everybody.
Bo is also welcome to stay, or you can exit the meeting as well.
I really want to thank both of you for the amount of work that both Jennifer and Bo put in to work with Montrose and to make sure that they were on board with what the project was all about. And, you know, it may not be visible to everybody, but you really did reach out to the community in a very positive, excellent way. So thank you both very much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to be moving on to agenda item 6B, Brand Library and Arts Center and Glendale Unified School District's Spring 2025 exhibition sponsorship opportunity. Motion approving the funding of a proposal by the Brand Library and Arts Center to provide programming support for the Glendale Unified School District Spring 2025 exhibition, and the sponsorship in an amount not to exceed $8,000 from the 2024-25 work plan. So we have Stephanie Sherwood here, who's our exhibitions coordinator, who's going to provide an overview of the sponsorship. And over to Stephanie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. So happy to see you all and be able to address you and talk about my favorite thing, art exhibitions. So I just wanted to give a little bit about the history of how the brand has supported the GUSD young artists in the past. In 2019, there was a brand classroom showcase that was the first iteration. This included an exhibition featuring all 5 of the GUSD high school artists in the brand gallery. It took up the whole gallery. It ran for 1 week, and they had a hands-on learning day, which this was before my time, so this is just all I know, like from my experience, is that they kind of worked to figure out how to curate the show on their own, and then worked with some arts professionals in the field. And then in the next slide, there's a poster for the 2023 iteration. My understanding is that this was supposed to be an annual thing, but of course the pandemic kind of got in the way of all of that. So the 2023 iteration was the second iteration, and it was also about a week-long exhibition of the GUSD arts in the gallery. So then this year, in 2024, we decided to reformat this exhibition as a collaboration between one of our guest curators that we tend to host exhibitions curated by guest curators at the brand, along with the GUSD artists. So instead of having the GUSD arts taking the whole gallery, we kind of did a half and half split. This was something the team kind of came up with to try and benefit everyone together. The artists from GUSD get to exhibit for the whole 2-month run of a show, get more eyeballs, get more interest, get more views. And we were also able to promote the exhibition like we would normally one of our full run exhibitions. So we put an ad out in Artillery, and you know, it just more exposure for the younger artists, and the younger artists get to exhibit alongside the professional working artists, which, as long as I've been working in the field, I think that having younger artists exhibiting alongside more established artists is really a great way to kind of like elevate everybody's work and kind of expand the conversation of what the works can be alongside one another. So that was kind of my vision for it, was to try and kind of uplift the GUSD student works by having them alongside the professional working artists. So if you go through the slides, there's a few images here. So you can see this is the GUSD student work in the hallway here, and then you can see the didactic text in the background. The way it worked was that basically our guest curator came up with the theme, which was really kind of looking at landscape and how humanity has impacted the landscape, and looking to artists to envision a future relationship with the landscape. So then they created a prompt sheet that we gave to the GUSD arts coordinator, Dr. Jennifer Earle. She shared it with all the teachers there, the art teachers at the different high schools, so the students were able to either select existing work that was relevant to the themes or create new works that were relevant to the themes. So it felt like kind of a cohesive exhibition talking about landscape and how humanity relates to it. So I would like to be able to continue this format of pairing a guest curator with, this is our guest curator, this is Marcela Vieira. She was selected by Super Collider, which was our guest curator for that exhibition. So I want to continue this format where we can partner. This is our catalog. So you get to see kind of how we did a combined catalog with all the artists. We had the Super Collider artists listed on one page, all the GUSD artists listed on the other page, and images of everybody's work throughout. And we got to highlight the student artists that had the time and made the effort to write statements. We had like a nice feature for them in the catalog, which is great. And our hope is that by giving we printed a catalog and gave to each artist, all the artists, is that the younger artists could then use those catalogs to like apply for colleges and things for like if they wanted to continue to pursue the arts into the future. So Opulent Mobility is our partner for the 2025 spring exhibition, and I've already spoken with them about this collaborative format and working with the GUSD students, and they're really excited about it, just as Super Collider was. I think a lot of these kind of artist-run initiatives are really excited about helping to influence and shape younger generations to come up through the arts. We want more arts, obviously. We all love that. So Opulent Mobility would be our partner for 2025, and I wanted to ask the Commission's support for this exhibition so we can try and just continue to grow the programming in the way that it's already been. It's already like on an upward trajectory. My predecessor did an amazing job setting up the programming at the brand, and I just want to continue that growth and continue to make Glendale an arts destination, which I know we all want that. So Laura Brody and Anthony Tessler are the curators for Opulent Mobility. Opulent Mobility has been going on for many years. They've been doing an annual national juried call, and it's specifically asking artists to reimagine disability as opulent and powerful. So these two amazing artists are really the visionaries for creating works that try and reimagine disability as not something to be ignored or pushed under the rug, but something to be highlighted and celebrated, like celebrating our differences, which I think is wonderful. We're really excited to celebrate their exhibition at the brand. And then I have some boring slides with text on them that kind of break down the rough budget. So something I want to try and pursue overall for the exhibitions programming is some additional funding so that we can provide a budget to our guest curators. In the past, we haven't done so. We just provide in-kind support. But I think that being able to provide an actual budget to our guest curators is going to really help to attract more talent to the city of Glendale, more talented artists, more talented curators, more ambitious proposals for the gallery. So I'm really hoping that this will be like kind of a step in the right direction. Also, in honor of Opulent Mobility, I want to try and increase accessibility supports for the exhibition. So I want to try and work on Braille translations for our exhibition didactics, language translations and art descriptions, and sign language translations for our artist talks and programming, things like that. So, and that's something I also want to just kind of continue as we grow our programming. And for the Arts and Culture Commission, of course, we would be acknowledging all that support in all the digital ads, postcard, the catalog that we'll be doing, the website, and the wall didactics. This will be supporting the mission of making Glendale an arts destination and supporting young artists by providing an opportunity to learn from professional artists, providing honoraria to curators to support their practices and attract more talent to Glendale, and support to make the exhibitions at the brand more accessible to a wider audience and support all these different accessibility supports. Yeah.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank
Very nice
you.
presentation. Comments from Commissioner Tufenkian? Questions?
Yes, hi. Thank you, Stephanie. Great project. So this is the third year you're doing this, and I think it's a great thing. And I like that you're combining professional artists and student artists. I think that's such a great opportunity for the young artists to be paired up with professional artists. My only question was from the budget. So you said there's 16 artists?
I believe there will be 16 artists in the exhibition. We're still kind of like in communication with a few of them just to like make sure they're officially on board.
And that would include the students and the professional artists or
16 professional artists.
artists? Okay. So the student artists would not get anything.
The student artists we would not be able to provide an honorarium to the student artists. It would just be for the professional artists.
Okay. And would the professional artists, would their work be for sale?
Yes.
It would be, okay. And would there be a talk or anything going on with this as well, or?
Yeah, I think we will most likely be doing an online talk.
Okay.
Since several, like, it just ends up being more accessible for everybody. Like, a couple of the artists are from out of town, so it might be a little bit easier to get more of the artists involved if we do an online talk, but certainly.
Okay. And I think it was $2,000 for an on-site specific artwork?
Yes,
What
so
was-
there's 2 artists that we're talking with that will be creating site-specific, like, installations, like large-scale installations. That'll be really amazing, but that takes some additional funding for materials for them to be able to do so.
And that would also be the professional artist, not the student.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
All right, that's it.
You know, she covered all the bases, so I have no questions, no comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I don't have anything to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this, yeah, thank you. That's really good. I do agree that I think it's great to have the combination of the two, the professionals with the students. Would they be mixed in together, or would they be segregated by one room or area, the student art, and another part of the gallery, the adult art?
I would like to explore the idea of trying to integrate it a bit more. We didn't in this year's exhibition. It was just a little bit too fast and furious, and it was a little bit easier for our guest curator to conceptualize one half of the gallery versus not having to worry about the other half. But I'm hoping that this year, because we have a lot more lead time in planning, that we'll be able to find a way to integrate the works a little bit more.
Okay. And this art that's going to be site-specific, is this something that stays in Glendale and becomes like a public art piece, or is it just up for the 2 months?
Just for the 2 months in the gallery.
And then the $8,000, you know, I know Brand Galleries has a budget for their shows, right? And student thing, you know, I understand that. That's something that's very important for us to do, to nurture student artists, and they're very much part of our mission. I'm just contemplating to myself, you know, going down the road of starting to fund the Brand Galleries shows and explore if that's, you know, the right thing for us to do. I'm not saying it isn't. I just hadn't thought of that before. And when I saw the agenda item, I thought maybe that was for the student part of it, like things for them to do and getting their show up. And because the art is for sale and there is a potential, not profit motive, that's not it, but, you know, it is a functioning gallery in that way. I just would like to hear from my fellow commissioners about what they think about that.
That's a great point, Chairperson Dudar. To quickly interject, I do know, and forgive me if I'm wrong or am misspeaking, I don't think any of the curators for the Brand Library shows are paid. I think it's all an honorarium of just their time. So I think that's something that would be a great opportunity for the commission to support, as the curators who are working with those shows. But do you want to talk a little bit more about that, Stephanie?
Yeah. In the past, we haven't been able to provide any honoraria for our guest curators. It's just been them volunteering their time to curate these exhibitions because they're very passionate about it. I know, which, you know, we want to pay our curators, we want to pay our artists as much as we possibly can. But also, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Guest curators. The other thing about this exhibition being a collaborative exhibition is that our guest curators are going to be doing a little bit more extra work to go through the submissions from the GUSD students to make sure that the exhibition feels cohesive. So like that, you know.
Some of that money goes for the curators to work with the students and to help them. And
Right.
do things. Okay.
Right. And we will do a workshop day with the students. I forgot to mention it during my presentation, but we did one this iteration 2024 where we had like a whole day where the kids were bussed in from all the schools, and then we had an artist statement writing workshop. We had a presentation by one of the professional artists in the recital hall, and then myself and the guest curator did like a walkthrough of the gallery to talk through the placement of the works. So we would like to do something similar this time, a walkthrough, some sort of workshop, and I believe the guest curator has already identified a working professional to talk to them about like a future career in the arts. So all of that, the funding would go to support those type of things as well.
So the requested monies cover all of that, okay.
I have like two questions. How do you choose the student artists? Like, do they have to be like in a program of GUSD, or it's like a public application?
No, it's totally, it's open to all the art students at all 5 GUSD high schools.
High schools? Oh, so like is there like an age, so it's only like for high school GUSD, or is there like an age limit?
High school GUSD seniors.
Seniors, okay, thank you. Thank you.
There seems to be some overlap. Glendale Arts just did a GUSD senior show. I don't know if you
Yes.
knew that. And
Yes, at Ace Gallery,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been working really closely with Dr. Jennifer Earl, and she put on that exhibition as well.
And this is also for GUSD seniors? Okay.
Does anyone have anything else? If
Yes.
not,
Okay, so I would want to make a couple of comments. So first, I feel like if we're going to pay artists for showing their work and they're able to sell the work and profit from it, I feel like we're setting up a new standard, which I don't know if we want to continue. So I feel either they should be paid or they should have the opportunity to sell, which if they're paid, they can sell after the show as well. So I'm not sure if that is something that we need to support. However, if there is a talk, we do give a $100 stipend for the talk, that's a different thing. But to pay for them to participate and have the opportunity to show at the brand, plus be able to sell, I think that's a little much. The curators, I agree that they need to get a stipend. That's totally understandable. And I would like to learn a little bit more about the site-specific, before we actually go ahead and fund that.
I hear you, for sure. But I will say that sales are rare, if any, especially because a lot of the exhibits that we do at Brand are a little bit more focused on concept and thematics, and especially a lot of the work's just not very saleable. It's either like large-scale immersive sculpture or something like that, which the site-specific ones will be probably not very saleable, but pretty amazing experientially. So yeah, I mean, I think it's for the commission to decide, but I think a small honorarium to offer the artists for their participation, their time, and having to come install the work, deinstall the work, participate in different events in the space and things like that is nice if we can offer that, but it's for the commission to decide.
Per your question, Commissioner Tufenkian, we do have a clause in our contracts, an option not to sell. So if the commission would prefer not to do that, we can make sure to add that into that contract.
Rather have it open to sale and keep the honorarium for the artists who participate in the talk. That would be my personal.
Anybody else have a comment about that?
I
I
listen
agree.
to
with you. I like your solution to that. I'm a little concerned too, and I didn't realize it until we got into the discussion that sets up something. I think the brands, the whole brand gallery budget idea, which is not part of our purview, is something that has to be thought about by the city. The is an important gallery in the city. It's not, it is a public space, but it's not, the art is not out in the public domain in the same sense as art that's outside. And, you know, I think there's the brand's budget for gallery shows and our support of certain shows that come within our purview and our mission, like the support of our student artists and their development. But I don't want the two things, you know, the brand and selling art and making money from that, which is great, that the brand associates can take proceeds from that. But still, it's, you know, there is a strange overlap there that we have to work out. So I'm with Commissioner Tufenkian on that. And just, I don't know how we turn that into a motion or what we do. So your advice, please.
I'm so sorry, I just missed it because GTV told me that your mic is cutting in and out. So they're missing
Oh, I'm sorry.
what you're saying. But if you can repeat, I would appreciate
Sure,
it.
happy to repeat it. I was just expressing support for Commissioner Tufenkian's idea that, you know, a selling artist it's a gallery where people sell, and brand takes a commission, brand associates take a commission to support the work, or, you know, but if curators or artists are doing something special to support the show that comes within our program that we're supporting, which is the student artists, then we can compensate them, but we shouldn't just blanketly compensate artists that can sell their work. It's either or. And I think they should be able to put a price tag on their work. So I'd like to see the two things separated.
I think that's possible for sure. Yeah.
So,
It would be up to the preference of the commission, which you would prefer, and we can make sure to include that moving forward.
okay. So as we just discussed, we could move that we support it. You know, I'd like to just have a round of, does everybody agree with the price tag now, the $8,000? Starting with you.
I think the price tag might change a little bit, just depending on how many artists actually participate in the talk.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think that would be the difference.
Okay.
I would not want to set a precedence on anything that we would not be able to support in the future. That's
Yes.
why.
Yeah, if we're looking for consistency over time with these types of shows, yeah, we wouldn't probably want to be involved with that.
It's my turn.
Oh, your turn. Sorry.
I'm going to second what Commissioner Tufenkian said, and I think that's why the language does say not to exceed 8,000. So for now, we're budgeting the 8,000, and of course, if it's a
We'll
lesser
back
amount,
off on
yeah.
it. Okay.
I don't have anything to say. I agree.
Okay, so we'll have a motion that not to exceed 8,000, but compensating artists that are participating in the student support. And other artists just exhibiting, selling.
I so move.
Can the chairperson make the motion?
I moved it. She stated it, but I so moved.
We need a second.
We need a second.
Okay. Commissioners Tufenkian,
Yes.
Zadorian,
Yes.
Chairperson Vidor.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, Stephanie.
Okay. Next up, agenda item 6C, public art donation, Ride Like the Wind by Catherine Renda. Motion recommending that the city council authorize the city manager or designee to enter into an agreement for public art donation with Catherine Renda for the artwork entitled Ride Like the Wind. Oops, not this one. Let me pull this up.
Is there anything? Oh,
There we go. So in September of 2020, the commission approved the artwork Ride Like the Wind by Catherine Renda as part of the Art Happens Anywhere program. The artwork was installed in June of 2022 and is set to be deinstalled per the contract in June of 2024. In October of 2023, Ms. Renda reached out to staff regarding interest in donating the artwork to the city due to its popularity in front of the Central Library location and the drought-tolerant garden. And in April 2024, staff met with Ms. Renda to discuss potential maintenance plan and appraisal for the artwork to be donated. So this is the discussion item in front of you, if the commission would be interested in receiving the artwork as a public art donation.
think it's a beautiful piece of art, and I think the location is great. It does add to the whole vibe of the area, so I would support accepting that. How would we value that, and how would that benefit? What is the benefit to the artist? And
In the original contract, the artist had estimated it was $3,000 as an estimate. What I would recommend is we could potentially hire an appraisal to come and assess the artwork as it is, so that we can include that in the recommendation to City Council.
so would it be something that we would pay for? Would it be a tax benefit? Would it be how would that?
I don't know about the tax benefits per se, but I do know that the artist is not requesting any money for it, so it would just be a straight donation of the artwork.
And the cost to us would just be the maintenance of it.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, I have no questions.
I totally support this, and I think it's very creative and beautiful for this location.
Okay, and I agree. I'm thankful to Kathy Horrenda for donating it to us, and it looks lovely here. If it has to be moved, I assume the city would take responsibility for that, and she's, obviated from any, okay.
Correct.
And so I agree. We accept donation.
Okay, I make a motion recommending that the city council authorize the city manager or designate to enter into an agreement for public art donation with Kathy Horrenda for the artwork entitled Ride Like the Wind.
And I'll second that, and thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine.
We'll call Commissioners Tufenkian,
Yes.
Sodorian,
Yes.
Chairperson Vidor.
Yes.
Great. Moving on to the next agenda item 6D, 2028 Olympics Committee. Motion appointing 2 commissioners to the 2028 Olympics Committee. But believe we discussed in the last commission meeting the opportunity that other municipalities have been establishing 2028 Olympics committees. So it would be advised to have our commission begin to have those discussions in preparation for 2028 Olympics. We currently have the following subcommittees and commissioners that are appointed to those, which is the Adams Square Mini Park Gas Station and Storefront Art Program, Commissioner Tufenkian, Zadorian, and Alexandrian. Beyond the Box Utility Box Mural Art Program, Chairperson Vidor, Vice Chair Yank. Brand Summer Music Series and Jewel City Concert Series, Chairperson Vidor, Commissioner Vyar, Commissioner Bogosian. Citywide Public Art, which is we appointed 1 commissioner, is Commissioner Tufenkian. And Creative Crosswalks Program is Commissioner Zadorian. So just wanted to give you all a background of the different appointments for these committees.
I have a question. Is this committee going to be a 1-year, like the other committees, 1-year term?
I think that's a great question. It's we have 4 years leading up to 28, so it's up to the discretion of the commission if you would want to have a rotating commissioners each 2 years or have them serve 2-year terms so that there's consistency, but I think it's up to the discretion of the commission.
And, okay.
I think basically I'd like to know what it would entail. What are we looking at? What would we be looking at and working towards?
I think we would be working towards some type of planning for 2028. I think the commission is interested in having Glendale be a focal point for the 2028 Olympics. So what would that look like? Would it be events, concerts, art walk? What would that look like? And so the 2 commissioners would meet mainly to brainstorm of what that would look like in 2028.
Okay.
I don't have anything to say.
Okay, well, you were going to say something?
I was just going to recommend. I know that Chairperson Vidor came up with this idea, so it'd be lovely to have her serve. And unless Commissioner Tufenkian I would also love to serve on this. I assume we'll do a 1-year term for the time being, and then we can always rotate if need be.
Well, thank you.
Commissioner Tufenkian, if you want to, please.
I don't think it's a
Definitely.
nomination. I think it's a volunteer thing.
It's a volunteer
It's a
thing, yeah,
volunteer
definitely.
thing,
I think if we rotate, it would give everyone an opportunity to be part of such an amazing thing. And I'm glad to be part of the first year. Thank you.
Okay.
What we could recommend doing for consistency is if we have 2 commissioners, 1 commissioner stays, and we add a new person
Like
each
you
year. So that
roll
there's but
somebody
it's up to the
over, so
discretion of the commission as well.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in this. I think the Olympics is the ultimate multicultural world event, bigger than the World Cup for sure. And some people are giving me dirty looks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Soccer fans here.
But, you know, I think it's in addition to coming up with new interesting things that the city will want to do to call attention to us and hopefully become, you know, a destination in the process. I think some of the things that are in the works, like we can start to think about, you know, all the things we've done and take stock of what we're working on and work with a view to, you know, by the time we get there, which isn't that far off, you know, it was only 2019 before the pandemic, and now it's like 5 years later, so that happened pretty fast, that, you know, we have a fully realized public art program on view, and that we're kind of working toward that as, you know, when we say our goal is to be an art destination, that would be a wonderful event to be able to say we are an art destination when we get to that point. So I'm happy to be involved and brainstorm and do whatever I can to help with that. And thank you for volunteering. Appreciate it. Okay.
Then I make the motion to appoint Chairperson Vidor and Commissioner Tufenkian to the Olympics Committee.
To serve a one-year term.
To serve a one-year term,
We'll add
correct?
that to the motion.
Thank you.
Roll call, Commissioner Stufenkian?
Yes.
Zadorian?
Yes.
Chairperson Vidor?
Yes.
Almost there. Agenda item 7A, 2023-24 work plan progress updates. We really discussed the updates already. Beyond the Box is open, and the application closes this Friday, June 21st at 5 o'clock. The other update is the Brand Summer Music Series starts on Friday, July 12th. So it's coming up very soon. We're very excited about that. And we have a wonderful lineup of artists who are part of that series. So those are the two updates. And then we are at Commission staff comments, agenda item 8.
Commissioner Franklin, anything?
As usual, a big thank you to staff. Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. It's, I think you're doing like 10 people's work in one. But I also wanted to say that I really, really like the project, all the projects that were presented today. I would love to see James and Jen, especially their Starburst somewhere in town. I think that would be amazing. Brian's, you know, I think that would be a great addition somewhere in one of the parks. And Sage's, you know, wherever we need shade, I think that would be amazing to have his work as well. So I think, you know, to keep their work in mind for future projects would be great. And I'm really happy about our selection as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Just thank you to everybody. Have an amazing summer.
Yes, thank you to both you and Bo for, I'm so excited about Montrose being so enthusiastic about what's going to happen and the choice we made. And I agree with Commissioner Tufenkian that the 4 artists, like when we have artists that apply and not everybody gets in, do we have like a roster where we could go back to them? Because some of them do gorgeous work and we'd like to have them apply again for things. So hopefully, yeah, okay. And then I went to Brand 52's opening, and Jennifer was there as well, and it is beautiful, and I really encourage everybody to go to the Brand Library to see Brand 52 works on paper. I have a question. I know that you had sent photo, video, and drone footage from the event, the Brand 52 event that Ace, our publicist, took, and everybody got that. And I'm very curious to know, you know, all that stuff is wonderful, but where does it go? What do they do with it? And I'm really, and I know you're very concerned about public relations because you're the one who originally brought it up. What do we, you know, do we have like a list of this was the press we got this month or whatever? Do we keep track of that? And is there any way to really follow the kind of press coverage we're getting?
That's a great question. So Ace our PR firm hired Zaw Studios to capture still photography and drone footage. which was shared. You're welcome to share those amongst your networks, and credit ZA Studios. ACE is really the lead that's been in charge of reaching out to various press contacts in the city. Glendale News Press, they're also contacting as well. So they send us a monthly report of all the outreach that they've done. And I've been sharing that in the commission meetings, their quarterly reports that they send to us of all the press opportunities that they've been capturing. But I can definitely make sure to follow up with them. I know they're hitting the ground running for Brand 52, and we can share the updates that they have probably at the next meeting of the different press that they've
It
contacted.
would be nice not to micromanage them, but I'm very curious as to who picks our public relations notices up and what kind of publicity we are getting and how good our outreach actually is. So it would be nice occasionally to see, what they're doing and then who grabbed, what hit and what didn't.
Sure, yeah. I can also ask if they can attend an upcoming meeting to talk about their outreach. I know there are some opportunities that have just been solely due to ACE in their contacts. So like we were mentioned as one of the top 5 things to do with KCRW. So there's certain things that ACE has those contacts that have been great to promote local Glendale
I
opportunities.
definitely know about that, and those are the types of things that ultimately, I think, at some point should end up on our Visit Glendale website, our press.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay.
And I just wanted to say thank you to Commissioner Tufenkian for all of your work in choosing the artists. I think we have a great set of finalists and all the work that you did to help review and narrow down those artists. We're looking at the next opportunity for review would be the Palmer Park basketball court mural, but we'll keep you all apprised as to when we would review that, but that's the next one coming up.
Yes. Thank you. Very nice choices.
Thank you.
I think we are at adjournment, so we do have to officially close and adjourn.
Okay. I adjourn the meeting.
Can we get a motion and a second?
Second.
Thank you.